For the thousands in attendance and the millions watching around the world, we are live and amplified. So let's get ready to podcast.
Fire it up.
Welcome, everybody, to another live and amplified livecast. I'm your host, Tom Quiet. We are back at it again with another amazing podcast. Today, we have a very special guest. We have Chisa. How's it going today?
Good. How are you?
Doing pretty good. Just hanging out, got off work and preparing for that cold.
Oh, yeah. I heard you guys are supposed to have ice.
Yeah, it's going to be rough.
In Texas?
Yeah. Central Texas never ceases to amaze me. But, it is what it is. I'll get used to it, and that's where we kind of sit. But I'm really excited to have you on the podcast. I've been listening to your EP all day, and I can't wait to dive into it and get to learn more about you and everything that you got going on in your musical career and journey and all that stuff. So for everybody that's tuning in live and will be tuning in on the podcast, let's kind of give you an opportunity to introduce yourself and kind of give a background into what got you into music.
Well, my name's Chisa. I am originally from Denver, but I now live in LA. I got started in music super young. My grandma was a jazz singer, and she'd always play her records for me while we'd be cooking scrambled eggs and whatnot. So I just kind of picked it up from her. My first performance was in a retirement home, fun fact. I was 5 years old, and I think I performed a Hillary Duff song or something for everybody. Yeah, if I didn't just age myself right there. But
it's all good.
Let's see. I started writing songs when I was 15. That's when I got a guitar for my birthday, and started playing and started writing songs.
Gotcha. So your grandma was kind of the main influence and driver into you at least starting to perform.
Yeah, definitely. If not the main, then definitely the first. I had a lot of influences. I was fortunate enough to have a really good music education system in this schools where I was. So I think that definitely helps.
Yeah, for sure. It always helps to have a place, you have an or somebody that introduces you to something, you have an interest, and it also always helps when you have an education system that's gonna whether or not they're teaching you or showcasing you to the music that you want to hear, it's at least reinforcing, something that you're interested in. So,
that's a whole other tangent we could go down is music literacy and how classes that may or may not be. And I could go on for hours, but let's not get started there.
Okay. I got you. No worries. So was there a specific moment that you started to realize, oh, hey, this is more than just a hobby or an interest, that I could turn this into something, or I could start pursuing it professionally?
Well, that probably came when I went to college. So I went to college for songwriting, went to CU Denver, and went there for a few semesters. And that's about when I realized somewhere. I think at the moment you want to go to college for something, I think you're considering doing it professionally,
Yeah, I got you. And who were at that time, obviously, when you first started performing, I'm assuming you were listening to Hillary Duff. But when you started to make that transition into pursuing it a little bit more professionally, who were some of your musical influences?
Oh, that's such a loaded question because my music tastes are so all over the place. So after my little pop Britney Spears, Hillary Duff phase of my 5 to 10, right, I started listening to emo music, and I really loved Fall Out Boy, My Chem, Paramore, especially, all those guys. And then after that, when I first got my first guitar, I was going through a country phase of all things to go through. And so I had kind of pulled influences from all of my favorite genres that I had accumulated up to that point in life, and I still feel that way. I still feel all of those genres ring very true in a lot of my music.
Gotcha. Do you ever dabble in jazz at all, or pull jazz influences, since your grandma was a jazz singer and that was kind of your early introduction?
I don't know if it necessarily plays out in my musical output, but it definitely makes its appearance in my musical input, if that makes sense. I love listening to it, and it's more so just I don't know, my little comfort genre, you know what I mean, that I always revert back to. But I don't find myself playing it very often. There's like a million other genres I end up playing more than that, which is a shame because jazz music is so much fun to play. And I feel like I've dabbled in it. Like, I'm lucky enough that where I live, I don't know, probably 10 other people that live on the same like ridge as me, and we're all musicians, so every like Sunday night we'll go jam, and so everybody's got different genre tastes, so that's probably what I've dabbled in it the most.
Gotcha.
Our little Sunday night jam sessions.
Nice. Yeah, it's I just recently started getting into jazz within the last like 4 years, at least appreciating what jazz was, because when I was growing up, it was always that old people music that my dad used to subject us to in the car.
Yep, I've heard that from many a friend. Them being like, "Why are you making us listen to like elevator music?" And I'm like, "Oh, stop!"
And it's not so. It wasn't so much that. It was just like my dad used to play jazz music. He was a upright bass player, and he used to play jazz music with it. And he was like, "This could have been like." That was always his big thing, was this could have been me. And I'm like, it's not. I don't know.
It's never too late.
Yeah. So but yeah, so that was kind of my early introduction. And then we did a media coverage for a jazz festival in New Mexico.
Oh, and fun. I want to go. What is it called?
The Roswell Jazz Festival.
Dope. I love New Mexico.
Yeah, it's I lived in Roswell, New Mexico for about 4 years, and it's pretty awesome. So but yeah, so I started getting appreciation for jazz music there, and just kind of being in it for at least 1 year, because we did the festival, and then now it's just kind of like as it pops up, it's like, oh hey, that's cool. I enjoy that. So
yeah.
But yeah, so kind of moving forward to so you went to school for music. Where does your kind of career go from there, or does your musical journey take you after school?
Well, I remember sitting in music business class. My music business professor was like, "You're wasting time sitting in a desk. You need to be out getting real world experience." And I didn't really feel like there was much real world experience for me to gain in Denver. You know what I mean? No shade to Denver, and I love it dearly, but just the music scene was not giving what I needed it to necessarily. And so about 2-3 years later, after I dropped out of college, I moved to LA. I learned to self-produce in that time period, and also picked up piano and drums, and made the EP that you're listening to prior. Did it all in the bedroom that you're looking at right now.
Nice. Gotcha. What was the what was the first instrument you picked up? Was it guitar or?
Technically it was flute in 4th grade.
Okay.
And then saxophone and French horn, and then guitar, and like ukulele, and then mandolin, and then piano.
Okay, gotcha.
And then drums.
So you had a very similar musical upbringing as I did, starting out, I'm assuming in the 4th grade. I don't know, what was it, like a concert band or a performance band or whatever it was.
Indeed.
And then as you kind of go through grade school, you graduate, and then by the time you hit high school, it's like it magically becomes a marching band or something. I think that's how it broke down.
I went the cheerleading route instead of marching band, and it was maybe the worst decision I've ever made in my life.
Oh, really?
Just kidding. I'm totally kidding. I love cheerleading, but see, I just had too many passions. I can't be held down ever. You know what I mean? I want to do everything that I want to do, and so having to like dedicate my time and energy to either one thing or the other, I had to like pick and choose.
Gotcha. And so do you still dabble in all those instruments, or have a lot of the grade school?
I have my flute still. I can still play it. I can still read sheet music. I've kind of tried to pick up a saxophone, and I've done okay. I remember some scales, and that's about it. I should not be let near a French horn, I'll be honest with you. Like, that's a headache for everybody involved. I think there's a reason my parents only let me play that for like a year.
Yeah, I gotcha. Well, because that's an entire different type of brass instrument.
Yeah, I'm not a brass player at all. That's what I realized. I don't have like the embouchure, the lung power, none of it.
Yeah, I gotcha. Because like, I don't know the similarities between like French horn and flute, but I know like saxophone, it's like a reed instrument. See, I paid attention in 4th grade music. I swear, Mom, I paid attention.
Can't relate.
Yeah. Just because I didn't like to practice didn't mean I didn't pay attention.
That's it. That's the one. The best musicians don't practice. They hate it. I'm convinced. At least that's what I tell myself because I don't like to practice nearly as much as I should.
And but then I sit here and look at myself. Had I not given up, I may be the best trumpet player in the world by
Oh
now. Who knows?
no, you can't absorb your dad's thoughts like that. That's not true.
Nah, it literally, it just wasn't a passion of mine in fourth grade. Whereas like I don't care. I want to go play baseball. I'm good. So,
Right.
um,
Trumpet, baseball.
yeah.
No
So-
shade to trumpet players or baseball players.
for sure. But so after you graduate college, you start learning how to self-produce and all that stuff, which kind of leads us to your most recent EP, which isn't your debut EP. You released one prior to this, correct?
Technically I released an album in high school that I recorded in a friend's basement. It's on SoundCloud. I don't know if you want to count that. I do count it. It's good. It's good. It's just not, I'm not the same person I was when I recorded that at all. You know what I mean? Like, there's so much disconnect between my 16-year-old self and me now, at 26.
That's fair. Like, I mean, I feel like a lot of people would say that.
Yeah, right? Arguably.
So, let's talk about Runaway Season. What's kind of the story behind that EP?
Those are a lot of the songs I wrote after I like dropped out of college. And yeah, just a lot of things are going on in my life at that time. And so it's around the time I realized escapism might be like my main emotional coping mechanism. It's around the time I discovered astrology too and realized I'm a Sagittarius moon, and I'm like, oh, this makes sense. Checks out. So yeah, there's a lot of themes of like escapism running through that EP, and just like this idea of wanting a better life for yourself but not really being sure how to approach it and achieve it, because there's such just like a disconnect between who you are in a moment and who you want to be further down the road, or who you hope.
Gotcha.
It takes a certain level of insanity to like be able to sit in that and picture your journey to that too. You know what I mean? Because when your circumstances look so much different than what you want for yourself, you have to hold and like a little whimsical, if you will.
For sure. How long had you been working on Runaway Season before you decided to? Before you decided to record it.
I've probably been sitting on most of those songs for. Okay, time is fake with the corona. I don't remember, but so I probably wrote Runaway Season in like 2014, and I don't think I recorded it as a song until 2020. Okay. So I guess 6 years.
Yeah. Was it just you didn't feel like it was ready before you?
I had just been like kind of going through producers and like having a lot of just deals fall through and just not work out. And so I just wasn't finding the right person to record with me. And that's why I kind of took it into my own hands and was like, let me just learn how to do it myself. And that's what finally got it out into the world. So,
Gotcha. What was that whole process like, learning how to produce yourself, like basically do everything yourself? What was that process like?
A lot of blood, sweat, and tears, literally. I was talking with my roommate who's a video editor about this. Both of our professions require a baseline knowledge of technology that you shouldn't have to know for what you do. You know what I mean? I have to learn how to like, I don't know. It's a lot. You know what I mean? Like just technology. Yeah. Like when things go wrong, things go haywire, and you're trying to install software, and you're just like not a technology person. It doesn't go over well. You can just imagine me with a bunch of YouTube tutorials on how to like reset my OS basically and stuff like that.
Gotcha. And so obviously that was a huge learning curve that you had to go through. Was it like during the pandemic you decided to go ahead and do all this, or was this before the pandemic that you were like, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to figure this all out myself?
It was like literally right as it was beginning to happen. Like I want to say I probably started recording a couple months before anybody had ever said the words Corona, like around there. Gotcha.
And of course, you released 2 singles to help promote the album, which I guess it's standard. Like I don't even know what the hell standard means anymore.
I think, especially with streaming services, release schedule is so lax. Like, there's people like Beyonce who just drop music with no promotion, and there's
Yeah.
people that will promote a single on TikTok for months on end before it even drops. It's very much so figuring out what works for you, I think.
Yeah,
It's kind of a free for all.
For sure. And did you so for the any songs on the album, did you do any music videos? Since you brought up your roommate that's a video editor, did you do any music videos or anything like that?
Not with her yet, although I definitely want to do that someday. But I did shoot a video with my photographer friend Bella in Colorado, and which is actually in Colorado Springs, probably where you were looking at a job or something. But I've been Canyon City up there is where we filmed a lot of that, and then we went to the sand dunes, and we just went on a giant road trip around Colorado and found like cool places to film, and so we just did a little music video that way. And they broke their foot while we were filming it, and their camcorder also got some sand in it, and now it doesn't work either.
Oh boy.
So we definitely had some adventures.
Yep. I know what it's like to get sand in your camera gear. It is not fun. I've broken many cameras doing that.
Yeah, cameras are like, I don't know. They don't have a lot of like, what's the word I'm looking for? They basically all have a death wish. I feel like they're all very fragile, scary things.
Yep.
You know what I mean? There's so many things that could go wrong once and it's toast, stuff like that.
Oh yeah. I was doing a thing out in Nevada. I was doing a documentary, and one of my lenses got so much sand in it that I was just like, oh, this sucks. I had to take the entire thing apart to try and clean it, and I couldn't remember how to put it back together again.
No, you're so close. You got all the sand out, but you're like, now what?
Yep. I was sitting there. I was like, and my mom was telling me, she was like, you should label this so you know how to put it back together. It's like, oh, I'll figure it out. It'll be fine. And now I'm just sitting here and I'm like, I've got this $500 lens that I can't use anymore because it's like half in pieces. And
oh, brutal.
So, yeah.
Mama knows best sometimes. I hate when that happens.
Yeah, it is very, very true. So you released 2 singles for Runaway Season, which was Runaway Season, the title track, and then Sunset to Sunrise. Why did you kind of choose those 2 songs as the singles?
Well, Runaway Season was the first song that cohesively sounded like a song. Honestly, that was the only thing that kind of made it end up as a lead single. It's like, oh, look, I finally was able to like put together a song and like kind of figure out this whole like recording thing and do it semi-successfully, at least to my standards. And so I sent it out to the world as my first single, and I'm really proud of Sunset to Sunrise as my second one, because that's the first song I ever went in production first, because usually when I write my songs, I have my guitar, my piano, and I have chords, and I have a lyric idea, and I'll just go from there. But this one I started literally with just production, so I was in there going through bass sounds, like the drum sound, and I created like a little groove, and then I started writing lyrics. I never approached songwriting that way, so I was really stoked that I was able to do that with that song.
Nice. Hey, that sometimes different does mean better. It's like, I mean, I really enjoyed Sunset to Sunrise, so it works. So now's the point in the interview where I ask you to pick your favorite child. Of the songs that are on the EP, what is your favorite song to perform?
Oh, to perform.
Yes, to perform.
Really love Runaway Season. I never performed the intro.
Yeah.
It's just too hard to play on guitar and like sing at the same time, so I just don't even bother.
Gotcha.
I'm going through the track list in my brain. I have not performed Sunset to Sunrise because I don't know how to do that with instruments. That would very much so be like something I play with a track.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's one more song. Oh, One at a Time. That's fun too. But I think my answer is still Runaway Season. I'm going through them. Sorry, I know I like listed off all of my children and gave you a little tidbit about all of them.
Hey,
but Runaway Season is definitely my favorite to perform. Gotcha.
Hey, that makes sense. It's like the title track. It was like the first one you got out, so that all makes sense,
Yeah, it's easiest to play,
Yeah.
Second easiest. Actually, One at a Time is a lot easier.
Oh, is it?
Well, 3 chords versus 4 chords, just technicalities.
Yeah, I gotcha. Very true. So Runaway Season's been out. when did it release in 2021?
Question. I think I put it out in like July.
Okay.
And then I think I put my second single out in like.
Well, the
Oh
full.
wait, no. Okay, the first one came out in December, and then I put the second single out in like April, and then I put it out in July. That's
Okay, so the EP's been out for a good minute now.
Yeah.
What's kind of been the response? What have you taken away from going through this whole journey of writing, producing everything yourself, releasing yourself?
It's just made me really excited because, like I said, these are songs I was sitting on for like 6-7 years, some of them. And so to have them out in the world finally is a really big relief to finally say that I brought a project from inception all the way to the end is really cool to say. And I feel really proud of myself for that. The reception's been pretty good. I got a lot more plays on it than I thought I would. I just had some like playlist features that liked one at a time specifically.
Mm-hmm.
And which is funny because I never put it out as a single officially. So it's always the ones that, you know, find their way out into the world and like hit with people.
Yeah.
And I love that song because it's very special to me. I wrote it about I moved to California not being able to sleep when I'm not in California. That's literally verbatim the words of the hook.
Gotcha. Well, yeah. I did enjoy One at a Time. And it's kind of funny because it's always like, not that it's a B-side cut, but it's always those ones that you don't promote that just kind of end up resonating with people and become the song that you're known for, which is kind of how the music business works, I guess. I don't know.
Weirdly enough, right? Yeah, no. Actually, one of my favorite bands back in high school, Lady Antebellum, they kind of all talked about Need You Now, their like smash hit, as their like they were gonna just like chuck it and not even record it, but just somehow ended up making the album and became like their Grammy winning song, which is just so funny to me.
I mean, you hear that all the time. Like if you watch like the old school behind the scene, like MTV behind the scenes or behind the music, whatever it is, and like
That's so fun.
Bon Jovi had an interview where he said the same thing about one of his songs that ended up becoming one of his major hits. He's like, well, I guess I don't really know much about releasing music. And it's like,
right? Somebody else should just pick singles for everybody. These are the real benefits of being signed. Just somebody tells you what to do.
For sure. So now that's been Runaway season's been out for a good minute. What's the plan for 2022? What do you have on your plate coming up?
Well, I have a lot of songs. I have honestly like 3 EPs I could release. I keep just like going back and forth between which one I want to focus on. I don't know if you gathered if I have Gemini placements because of my like, you know, general scatteredness as a human, but I seem to be able to multitask really well. And I know like some of my favorite songwriters do this too. Like Rivers Cuomo has this whole like I just love his whole songwriting like approach in general, but he definitely is one of those people that's like, yeah, so I had like the Black album and then I had songs for the Teal album, and he just like as he found new songs would like kind of file them away into different albums.
Yeah.
And so I feel I'm operating that same way. I used to like mentally laugh at that, but then I understood, and I think that comes with like producing your own stuff too. Like I think I saw a TikTok about being able to organize all their song ideas that they have, and they're like, should I finish an old song or should I just start a new one?
Yeah. And so since you're kind of going through that process of like what EP or what you want to release next, I kind of take it you're still actively writing as well, or do you just have everything in place and it's a matter of I'm feeling this one, nope, I'm feeling this one?
It's kind of like that. It's just a matter of recording them all. So I have a bunch of songs I definitely like, and I had to make myself stop writing songs because I just have such a backlog of songs that need to be recorded at this point. And so I'm just going to keep chugging through. I think the best approach I decided about an hour ago is to just keep chugging through in chronological order the ones I like, and so I don't like mentally get messed up. But I think I'll do what I did with Sunset to Sunrise and like throw some new songs in there if it fits the project.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
That makes sense. It's kind of funny because you brought up that you have like all these different projects and like being able to multitask, and you have all these different projects that you're just kind of shelving songs into that could be something. And it made me revert back to everything that I've said over the last week and a half. It's like, oh, hey, we need to bring this project back. Oh, we need to bring that project back as well. Like,
a mounting to-do list.
and I'm sitting here, I'm like, I'm talking my buddy, my co-partner and everything. I'll be texting him and he's like, dude, I'm at work. Just call me tonight. And then I'll call him and I'll keep him on the phone for an hour and a half. And it's like, we need to make this work. He's like, do you have money to make it
now?
work?
You need to make this work right now.
Yeah. Then the question of money always comes up, and it's like, we'll figure it out. Don't worry about it.
It's a business investment. It'll come back to us.
Yeah.
It's got a good ROI.
Yeah.
I'm the best investment I could ever make. I gotta feel that.
And he's sitting there, he's like, you do realize you're talking about going out on tour with a podcast. And I'm like, yeah, it's a brilliant idea. And he's like,
you should just find guests in every city to interview, and there you go. It's endless content. It's perfect.
I actually kind of the idea is doing it like a talent show type deal. And so basically, every city we go to, we just put out an open call saying, hey, any musicians that want to come in and get a potential opportunity to play on the podcast. So basically we just like randomly pick people, just not by any means of anything.
Sounds like American Idol a little bit.
Yeah,
it's reminding me of the audition system.
Kind of something like that. And then so we sit there, they come in, they play, they do really well or they do really bad, and then we just talk about it. And it's like, hey, you're way pitchy tonight. Let's talk about that. Why do you think it was?
Oh, shady. So it'll be like a roast thing. You're like, it's not just a music podcast, it's a comedy one.
And we'll try and be a little bit nicer with it, but you
won't tell them they're pitchy, just a little wobbly.
Yeah, something like that. But it's just one of those things where it's like, I really want to do that because I like the idea of traveling. Like prior to the pandemic, we'd go out at least once every other month and go somewhere. And it's like, we haven't done it in 2 years. I'm ready to get out there and go.
I think we all feel in that. I was just telling my friend the other day, I can't even remember the last time I went out of the country. It's driving me nuts.
How often do you go out of the country?
I was averaging about once a year for the last like 3 or 4 years. But
okay. Where do you usually go? Or is it different, kind of just depending?
It kind of just depends on where me and people I want to travel with want to go to. I just went to Japan with my mom to see my grandparents for the first time in 10 years, right before the pandemic, and that was awesome.
Nice.
Yeah, I hadn't seen my grandma since I was like 6 or 7, and so she just walked right past me and she had no idea who it was.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's crazy. That's actually one of the places that we haven't seen much exposure in is a lot of the Asian countries, and I don't know why, but
no, it's so cheap. Go to Thailand. There's so many good places. I mean, not that I've only ever been to Japan. I can't speak for any other country but Japan, but there's so many dope places in Asia.
Nice. We'll have to put something together and figure it out.
Absolutely, I'll send you my travel bucket list of things I want to go see.
One of the places we really want to go to is Australia. So I feel like Japan or any place right there would be an easy transition or easy jump from Australia.
Yeah, so I've heard. I've heard if you want to do Australia right, you have to go there for at least a month, though.
If I go to Australia, I'm going to go there for at least 3 months.
Oh, okay. He's like, I'm here a month and I raise you 3 months.
Yeah. Well, no, because it's one of those things where it's like, if I'm going to spend 15 to 18 hours on a plane, I'm not doing a weekend back. That's not happening.
Right. The jet lag alone would kill you, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah. I would literally go there and stay there for 3 months. That's kind of where I'm at on it. So
I'm jealous. I support you in this goal.
Awesome. I appreciate it. Where are some of the other countries you've gone to?
My old best friend and I had just done Greece and Italy in one trip, probably about 6 or 7 months before my Japan one.
Mm-hmm.
And then before that, I think we had gone to the Dominican Republic, which was
nice.
fun. And somewhere in there, we went to Cancun for my 21st.
Nice.
Which is fun.
That's awesome. That's Cancun for the 21st. That just sounds like
beat it.
I
At an all-inclusive? Come on.
Yeah. I can't decide if that's the best idea ever or the worst idea ever.
It was good for me. It was
good. It was both. It was good and bad. It gave you
and
that...
nobody got hurt. Nobody got hurt. There were no people harmed in the 21st birthday shenanigans.
It gave you that line that you shouldn't never cross again.
Which is what? Don't eat too many pastries at the dessert bar because you'll gain 10 pounds on vacation.
Sure. That's
okay.
Yeah.
Is that the line?
We'll go there.
That was my line.
Nice. Cool. So obviously, hopefully traveling I'm sure is a thing that you'd like to start doing again in 2022 as well. As you're kind of going, as 2022 kind of opens, obviously it'll just kind of be a free for all of what can we get into the system.
Where can we get our hands on tickets to?
Yeah, pretty much. And then you're obviously going through the whole process of releasing music and trying to figure out what to release, when to release, all that stuff. What's kind of your show situation looking like? Are you
I just got back from a tour, kind of. I did like a little West Coast moment. I drove 50 hours in 9 days by myself for this in my little Subi. Nice. You should have seen I have a blow-up mattress now for the back seat. It's choice. I was joking that my back seat is pretty much like Emirates first class.
Nice.
Minus the shower,
Yeah. I probably need to invest in an air mattress for the back of my car. It would save me so much money. And a lot of back pain. Because
what's saving me money on hotels is my hammock, though. I have an Eno hammock, and I just tie it to my ski rack in one end to a light post at a rest stop. I haven't paid for I had a couple years where I did not pay for any hotels, as bad as and probably as dangerous as that is. And I don't have this lifestyle whatsoever. However, I've been there.
It's one of those things where it's like when I was in college, I ended up in the middle of BFE Ohio, and I was so tired that I pulled off one of the exits, and I just saw a place that was dark, and I pulled my car in and I fell asleep, and I woke up and I was inside some dude's barn, and I'm like,
that's so sketchy. That happened to you?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I was sitting there and I was just passed out, and I wake up and I'm like, where the hell am I? And I pull out and leave, and I'm just like, all right, I'm never going to do that one again. And so now it's just rest stops and gas stations.
Wow. Okay. All right. Okay. Yeah. I will never pull off on the side of the road ever again. Good to know. That is terrifying.
Just because it was so dark, and it was literally in the middle of nowhere, Ohio. And I was just so tired. I was just like, oh, this looks like a place that I could sleep.
Yeah, sometimes you don't get to choose where you sleep. Where you sleep chooses you. Yeah. Wherever sleep finds you.
Yep. So how was your tour?
It was so good. It was so much fun. It was very life affirming, and just I've always said for a while that if the most I ever achieve out of my music career is playing to empty bars for the rest of my life, that I will be happy. And so having achieved my baseline minimum goal, I feel really good.
Nice.
Yeah.
What does a Chisa live show look like?
Ideally, it's my drummer Tati and my bass player BB, and then me playing piano or guitar. But all these shows that I just did were acoustic, so it's just me and my keyboard and guitar.
Nice.
Whatever back enough to find in the crowd.
Gotcha. And it was how many shows did you said 9 days? It was a 9-day tour?
Yeah. I had more. I've had 5 or 6, maybe 5 to 8 maybe shows over the past 2 months.
Okay.
But I had a string of 3 shows in a row, so that was this little tour, and then I had one-off shows in Seattle and Portland and then San Francisco.
Gotcha. And this was your first little run of tours?
Yeah, I've never been I just started playing shows this last year, I think, for myself. So it's been a lot of fun.
Awesome. Hey, any plans on going out again soon, or because you got to work a full-time job, it's not?
Well, I have a gig work job that lets me
Okay.
leave whenever I see fit, which again is not probably conducive for my Sagittarius moon self, but it does what I need to, you know?
Yeah.
It's not my favorite. But I can leave whenever I want, and that's what's important. So, the second that somebody will take me on tour, I'm free, I'm open.
Nice. Hey, it's good to have
If anybody's listening that needs an opener, I'm here.
for sure. Anybody that is looking for an opener, check her out. Her music is amazing. Check out Chisa. Her music is amazing. I really, really enjoy it. And you've got a fan in me. I'll be looking out for all your new music.
Keep me posted on the touring podcast. I want to be roasted. I want to be first up.
I don't want it to necessarily be roasted. I want it to be more of an honest approach. I want it to be honest, not so much malicious. Okay,
well, if you're gonna constructively criticize me, you're allowed to make it funny. That's at least my viewpoint on it. Okay. I love when my friends just will rip me a new one. I'm like, tell it how it is. Come on, give it to me.
Well, it's one of those things where it's like I can take a joke, and the rest of my guys that are on the team can take a joke, but there's a lot of musicians. You don't know if the random stranger can take a joke. It's true. It's tricky territory. There's a lot of musicians. You have to sign a waiver beforehand that says you have to be okay with us roasting you. Yeah. Well, and there's a lot of musicians that cannot take a joke. It's very interesting. Well, it's because music is so personal. If you think about it, that's like our heart and soul, and so they do take that very personally. I don't care. I'm like, it is what it is. It's for me. It's not for you. I mean, it's for you to enjoy and for you to interpret how you see fit. But yeah, I don't know. You just can't tell me anything about how I make it. You can tell. I don't know. And I mean, there's definitely a way to do it without seeming like we're attacking you, and still make it funny. So I think it's the matter of just doing that and finding the balance is the way to go. So. Definitely, which I think you're very capable of. But again, like I said, if you need a funny bit, I'm here. Roast me. I'm ready. My goal has always been that dude. You know that dude from American Idol, like one of the super early seasons. Ricky Martin. Yes. I think about that man regularly. I want to be that iconic, and therefore, I don't know. I just I love internet commentary. I welcome it. It's funny because every once in a while when I need a real humility check, I will put that song on and be like, yes, humble me. Just shoot bangs. Well, because the funny thing was, didn't he do like a whole album singing like that? I didn't know that. I can't even remember the dude's name now, but I swear he did like a whole album. William Hung, I think. There you go. William Hung. There you go. That works. Apparently, I'm a fake fan. I didn't know he dropped an album. I have to go check that out. Don't quote me on it, but I vaguely remember an album being dropped at some point. Just so you know, that's what I'll be researching all night. Awesome. And let me know if you find it. I will probably have to reaffirm myself. So, kind of. Real quick, just outside of music, what do you do when you need to escape from everyday life? What do I do? I like yoga a lot. That's my rated G answer. I mean, I'm from Colorado. I don't think I need to say anymore. Yeah, I got you. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. But yeah, yoga's definitely a main one. Escape the world. I love hiking. I love road trips a lot. Like the cover art for Runaway season for the single happened when me and two of my best friends decided to take a girls trip, and we were going to go to Reno, and we got two flat tires in the middle of nowhere, like right outside of Yosemite on 395, and so we just car camped and then had a photo shoot the next morning, and that ended up being the cover art for Runaway season because it was just very fitting. Nice. Hey, that works. And how long have you been doing yoga for? Honestly, my whole life. My parents put me in yoga classes when I was like pretty young, like I want to say like 8 or 9. I've just been doing it on and off since then. Gotcha.
Did accidentally go viral for falling off a log doing yoga though. So there is that too. I think that's about when I stopped doing it because I just got roasted on the internet so much. I was like,
Wait a
let this
minute.
hobby of mine take a break.
How did I not see this? Or is it like you have to know to find it?
You must not have Googled me. I don't know.
Okay.
It shouldn't be that hard to find.
Okay. I will have to go look. But yoga's
You can go to Reddit, and if you go under the tag kombucha, there's me, stupid old me, falling off a log.
All right. I will have to now.
We both have research now.
Yep, be my research afterwards. But no, I did yoga there for a minute, and for whatever reason, the last you'd think during the pandemic I would have done it more, just because I was locked in the house not locked in the house, but I was kind of stuck for a year and a half.
You could not leave your house.
Never again. But I got really lazy during the pandemic and kind of let myself
fine.
go.
I think that happened to all of us.
Yeah,
No, it's okay. Corona, man. I'm just now realizing a lot of the psychological effects it's had on me. So,
yeah. Well, I gained 45 pounds during the pandemic. I don't.
It's okay. A little more to love. Then you can bounce back. And even if you don't want to bounce back from that, it's totally okay. I just wish everybody would be kinder to themselves, myself included. We all are really hard on ourselves for no reason.
But what is kind of interesting, once I started getting back into a normal routine of going back to the office and whatnot, how quickly it all fell off. So it was like, okay, cool. It's fair.
Yeah. It was just Corona weight. It doesn't count.
Yep, that's fair. That's a fair way to put
vacation calories.
Yeah, for sure. But it's been an absolute blast chatting with you. I've really enjoyed the conversation. And whenever you decide to have the next release ready, would love to have you back on to jump into it so we can talk about it and all that stuff. Yeah, absolutely. But for anybody that wants to check out Runaway season or any of potential upcoming shows or anything else you got going on, where's the best place for them to do that?
You can follow me on Instagram at Chisa Marie, which is ChisaMarie. I'm the same. I'm just Chisa on Facebook on my Facebook page, and then chisamusic.net is my website. If you're more old fashioned and you like a poor social media or whatever, that's also a good place.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and then you can find my music on Spotify and Apple Music under Chisa as well. Yeah.
Gotcha. Do you have any aspirations of doing vinyl or anything on the any of your upcoming releases? Since
I haven't thought about that. I feel like physical pressings as an independent artist can be kind of a daunting task to approach, but it's not a bad idea, especially as merch. You might be onto something. I have not thought about it once until now, so gotcha. Thank you.
Gotcha. But before I let you go, I forgot to do this.
Listening.
We have one thing left to do. I have a random question generator sitting right in front of me.
Oh, I love them. Can we do it rapid fire, 10 in a row? See how fast I can answer. Let's do it.
All right. I was only going to ask you one, but if you want to do 10, we can do 10.
All right. Let's do it.
How much would somebody have to pay you to never use the internet again?
Oh my God. Okay, you'd have to pay me enough money so I could buy an encyclopedia set to know the answers to all the random questions I'm going to have that I can't Google from here on out. So maybe 10 mil.
Okay, fair enough. What is the thing in horror movies that makes them so terrifying to you?
The music. No,
fair.
Not
That's fair. Would you rather live without color or live without taste?
Live without color. I love food too much. Love to cook.
Fair. If you were at a business lunch and you ordered a rare steak and they brought it to you well done, what would you do?
Send it back because I didn't order a steak because I'm vegan-ish. Pescatarian and dairy-free if anybody wants to know, but they don't.
If you could have any superpower but couldn't control when it happens, what would it be?
Talking animals.
Dr. Doolittle. I love it.
Yeah.
Read. If your hair stopped growing after your next haircut, what kind of haircut would you get?
Oh my god, it just stay like this, but literally my hair, I did the math, it grows a foot a year. So if it stopped growing, it'd be doing me a favor. And we
Deal.
could coexist peacefully, maybe.
Deal. All right, last one. Would you rather be the first person to explore a planet or be the inventor of a drug that cures a deadly disease? That wasn't really that fun. That was a lot deeper than I wanted it to be.
I really like that last question. I'm thinking about it. I was just talking about how I feel like the conquistador age of humankind has kind of ended and that there's not really very many frontiers to still expand and explore. So I think being the first to step on a new planet would be dope.
Yeah.
And I was just talking about how much I loved the ending of Space Cowboys with my roommate. I think it's just such a peaceful idea to just like float away and die in space. You know?
I was just watching that movie the other day myself.
Stop! No way! I love that movie. I need to rewatch it again.
It's one of those movies, like my dad introduced it to me, but it's
Same.
one of those things where it's just like I could just watch it and like I don't have to really pay attention, and I just kind of like hear key moment. It's like, oh, they're like halfway through the movie. Cool. And so
Yeah, those are the best. I love anything that I can just tune out and tune back in. That's the only type of media I consume.
yeah, for sure. But once again, I really thank you for making me do 10 of those. I've never done that before.
Yeah,
Usually
course.
it's just like one off, and
I've been over caffeinated today. I had to overachieve, you know. That's the theme for today.
it happens. I've been under caffeinated today.
All right, I'm giving you caffeine vibes.
Actually, I'm gonna go drink some caffeine after this because I've got to eat dinner. So
You got it, champ. I believe in you.
oh yeah, for sure. But once again, really appreciate you sitting down and chatting with us. Is there anything else that you wanted to talk about before we wrap this up?
Just that I'm gonna out there conversation's over because I'm having so much fun.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's it. I don't know if I have any wise parting words. I don't know if I have any wise words at all, you know, but it's okay.
No advice for the young musicians out there?
Keep going. Chin up, Buttercup. I love you. Keep doing the thing.
Gotcha.
Just that.
But really appreciated the chat. I really look forward to talking to you later on this year or whenever you're ready to come back on.
Sure, sounds good. I'll be back. Godspeed. You know,
Awesome.
super fast.
Awesome. Once again, thank you so much for hanging out with us. Thank you everybody for tuning in, and we will catch you all later.
For being here.